Hey y'all, I'm back. I just wanted to come back and just talk about how I did it, like how as a single, mother in 2023, I was able to buy a home. For most people, especially now, it just, because of the economy and just because of everything that's going on in the world, people are feeling a little bit, I've noticed, like just really discouraged when it comes to the home buying process. And, I know for me personally, I was in a position where I was like, you know what, I don't want to sign another lease. Everybody knows that, rent is ridiculous pretty much everywhere you live. And in Florida, child, terrible. Okay, terrible. So I just wanted to come on and just kind of share my experience with the home buying process. Just yeah, let's start with what do I want to start with? Okay, yeah, let's start with first things first, you have to work on your credit, and you have to make sure that yeah, you need to be working a job. You need to be having a job for at least 2 years consistently. Yes. However, that credit is everything and you need to be working on that. Okay. But the thing is, people feel like, oh, I got to have this perfect credit score. I got to have a damn 800 or I got to have a 750 or no, you don't. You don't. And depending on the kind of loan that you're applying for, just the requirements are different. And me personally, I went into it with the FHA loan. So just keep in mind too, like with the FHA loan, there are I through my experience, I feel like it was a lot of restrictions and kind of like limitations, I feel like, on what I could qualify for, what I could get and what I couldn't, as far as like the house or the place that I chose. So if the area where the HOA was too much, they were like, the lender was like, nope, sorry, you got to pick somewhere else. Or certain things like I do find that the FHA loans really protect. They try to, like, I feel like, protect you, I guess, against like going into a situation where it's like you're not in livable conditions. You get what I mean? So they're like very, very strict on stuff like that. So, but anyway, that was just my experience with the type of loan that I got. To be honest, it was a very home buying, the process is very, it can be intimidating. And you just have to be really ready, because the process in itself, it's like an emotional roller coaster. It is like an emotional roller coaster. Like 1 minute everything is good, you feel like you got everything in, and then the next thing you know, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this. So that pretty much what made it like an emotional roller coaster. So regardless, I kind of touched on this on my last video, but you know what? I'm gonna talk about that a little later. So anyway, I was pre-approved or whatever. I was like, you know what? I have a realtor friend, someone I went to school with, and I was like, hey, like, I don't really know where to start. I don't really know how much I need. All I know is I've been working on my credit, and I've been working on my credit, and I don't want to rent anymore. I don't want to rent anymore. Everything was going up, and if anybody knows, like, when you're by yourself trying to live in today's time, is very difficult. And then throw in a kid or kids is wild right now. So I knew that, okay, for what the income that what I had coming in and what my rent was about to be going up to, I was like, yeah, like, I really, what do I have to lose by trying at least to qualify for a mortgage? So I reached out to her, and like within like that day, the next day, I was pre-approved for a mortgage loan, and it fell on my birthday last year, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a sign!" Like, I was like, and so everybody knows when you get pre-approved, that's when you can go shopping. That's when you can go looking. And I feel like a lot of people, they haven't really started it yet. They just know they want to buy a home. You kind of like can get yourself you can get yourself in a predicament where you're let down a little bit, or you might even underestimate how much you qualify for. But I just don't advise shopping and looking for a home before you've been pre-approved, period. Because you need to know what your budget is. You need to know what you're working with. Like, you need to know. And of course, you only get 3 months, whatever you're pre-approved for, to find somewhere before you have to get pre-approved. So, that's a process as well. So anyway, I got pre-approved on my birthday, and I was like, okay, it's time to go. Now, mind you, my lease was about to be up where me and my son were currently living, where we were living at the time. It was about to be up. My birthday was in December. My lease was up in April. So I had less than 4 months to find a home. So let's start there. And if anybody know how the market is right now, it is very difficult a lot of times to sign a contract. Like, it's so hard to find, especially within your budget, what it is that you're looking for within 3 months, because you still have to give yourself the 30 days. And that it could be an underwriting, it could be and just information that the lender is still asking for you before you're clear to close. So I was racing against the clock. And I was like, okay, but it gotta happen. It has to happen. So you'll be amazed, you guys. And I live in Florida, so it's everybody knows how expensive it could be, especially there's so many investors here, so many, people, trying to do their vacation homes, and they're trying to do this and that, and they're taking even the slop of the slop, the homes that nobody has taken care of, and they're putting all this money, they're funneling all this money, and they're flipping it. And as a result, it brings the value of a home that's originally, it basically is now worth more than what it should be. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. So I went into quite a few homes like that, and I was as a single parent with just my income, it was discouraging at times, because I'm dang, yeah, it is best for some of those investors, because if they have the money to renovate and they have the money to just pour all this money into this place, maybe that is what's best for, because it's hard, because you can't call when you own a home. You can't call the leasing office, and you can't call the maintenance man down at the leasing office to come and fix this, that, and the third. And so you just want to make sure for me, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't signing my name on the dotted line for a place that I knew that I could not afford to completely gut out or renovate, because that's a lot. Some of these places, I felt like you need at least $25,000-$30,000 just to be able to get it right, get it, where you can live in it, just to be okay. And most people, single or not, that's just not what we have. That's not what's feasible. So that was a challenge. So I was basically racing against the clock. So the current place that I ended up purchasing, I went in and I toured early on in my process, probably around December, around Christmas time, around New Year. And I wasn't sold on it yet, because that's another thing. In this market, it's kind of it's so much pressure to hurry up and jump and hurry up and send in a contract, that sometimes it's I'm a person, I have to stop and think. I gotta feel, what I'm getting into. I have to weigh my options, and the market that we have now, it kind of doesn't give you the space or the leeway to even do that. Like, you go in and they're like, you wanna send over a contract right now? Do you wanna? I'm like, wait a minute. I don't even know if I don't even know how I feel about the place 100% right now. So having to like make a decision, and if you don't, somebody else could jump right on it. That's how quick, sometimes within hours or minutes. And I came into this place or whatever, and it was, I liked it. I felt like there were some things, that need some working on, but I felt like for what was in my budget and the location and the school zones and everything, I was like, okay, well, I can kind of fold on certain things. So it was in the back of my head. So during that, okay, I'm looking at other places. I'm looking at other townhomes, and I just kept coming back to this one because I felt like, yes, they're saying condo, they're saying townhome. However, they look like more like apartment style. And I'm like, if I'm purchasing and I'm getting a mortgage, and I'm investing in something like this, I want it to feel like more on a home and not like I'm just like, I have a mortgage on an apartment. I know that might sound kind of, but that's just me. I want it to feel, so I wanted like the high ceilings. I wanted, just certain features that I wanted to feel like, okay, I'm in a townhome, I'm in a condo, because that's really what I was looking for. I did look at some homes, like with, bigger yard and stuff like that. However, they weren't in the right, areas for me in town where I felt like I would feel comfortable, and I would feel comfortable with my kid going to school in that zone. If he had to, come home on the bus or school, I don't want to feel worried about it. Like, it's just the area for school zoning and everything. And it was important for me. Like, work is nothing because I do work remotely. I work from home. So that wasn't the issue. The issue was, okay, is this area safe? And some of those homes in certain areas, I'm like, this is not really an ideal safe area for me. And it's one of the things I did not bend on. And my realtor was very good with that. She did not push the issue. She was like, hey, look, if this ain't what you like, this ain't the area, it is okay. Tell me now. And one thing about me, I'm gonna tell you, like, especially I felt like if it's something that I'm investing in, do not hold back. Say, I don't like this, I do like this. Like, be clear, so it helps you weigh your options a lot better. Another thing, so I was looking at other places, other properties, and I came back to this one, and I just was like, I don't know. Now, mind you, at this point, I'm not finding anything else, right? I'm not finding anything else. We're contemplating going out in the countryside. I'm like, I don't even want to do that. I said, because it's just me and my child. And I'm single. Like, it's one thing for you to move out into the country where you're by yourself and you do have a significant other or you have a family member that's out there with you. But when it's just you, I'm a woman, I'm very girly girl, you get what I mean? So I was like, no, I need to be by my family. I need to be close to where, if anything, or if I were to need anybody, I need for them to be able to get to me just like that. So that was out of the question for me. So anyway, so as I'm looking, I'm still inquiring, trying to get a hold of the seller for this place. And apparently, they were, she was a physician and she used it as like a rental property. Surprise, surprise. So we all know what comes when you buy a property that was a rental property. There are a lot of kinks, a lot of things that need to be handled, but that's for another day on another video. However, she was very, very hard to get a hold of. And then I turn around and I look one day and they took it off the market. And I'm like, no, because by then I had already made up my mind that this is the place that I wanted. I was tired of looking. I liked the area. I was just like, no, like, why is it off the market? So my realtor fought tooth and nail to get a hold of her, and they finally did. And they were going to do, she was going to do, was take it off the market, change some things, and put it right back on the market for more, right? And I was like, no, because I knew if she were to do that, it would be over my budget. So I was like, really, you guys, do not be afraid to sometimes like be pushy, especially for the things that you want. No, don't be a bitch. Like, don't be, a a-hole about it. But at the same time, like, it's the real estate game is a cold game. Like, you either get what you lock it down or it's gone. One of those situations. So, anyway, so we sent in the contract, mine or whatever. Not the contract. We sent in, I sent in my offer. I'm sorry. I sent in my offer and it was off the market. It was off the market. And I told my rep, I was like, you know what? So what? If she accepts it, she accepts it. If she doesn't, oh well, because it wasn't on the market anymore. And I was like, at least I tried. At least I can say I tried. So comes back, it was a little hard. And when you put in an offer, you only have until like that next day or like a day or two. It's like a very short window where they have to respond and say, yes, we want to accept your offer, or no. So I was like, oh my God, like, I hope she accepts my offer. And she accepted it. And that's how that went. So anyway, I kind of want to jump into the actual paper process and what it is. So a lot of people, and I see a lot on TikTok and stuff and some of these other platforms, and even some on here, they say, oh, 0 down, and you don't need this, and you can do, yes, you can qualify for a mortgage. You don't have to have, this perfect credit score. You want it to be the best that you can get it. At least 650, at least, and I want to say on the lower end, at least 630. At least, that's in my opinion. However, you do need money. You do need some money down, because there are so many fees that goes into it. Sometimes it goes within your state, those little mini fees, those application fees, those fees that, from the realtors, it's so many little fees. And you have to pay for your appraisal. You have to pay for your inspection. And you have to do that well before you even close on anything. You do. And you don't want to go forward and not get an inspection. You don't. My inspection and for the fees at first was like $700, right? For where I am. The that was for $700 for the appraisal. It was $500 for the inspection. And they did some type of like wind mitigation type inspection, like a 4-point. I don't know the lingo, but somebody drop it in the comments. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it was about $500 for the actual inspection. So add that up, okay? And then you have to put down a good faith deposit, right? Which goes into your escrow, right? So for me, off rip, I had to do, I think I did 1,000. No, I did 1,500. 1,000 or 1,500. And I'm telling you, this is all before, this is all before you even close. This is the money. So do not believe people when they say $0. Now, there are specific certain cases, depending on your loan type, that you might not. Hey, you might not. But for the most part, you do have to have something. So I want to say at least have $3,000 to $5,000 available just for that, right? So in my case, because I was a first time home buyer, I was able to get down payment assistance, which was when I tell y'all, I was like, oh God, I know this was you. Because I went into it like, look, I only have this amount of money, which wasn't a lot. And I was like, and I don't know if this is even enough to even start anything. And my realtor and lender was like, yeah, that's enough. Let's go. Let's do it. And as we go, and let me tell you something, sometimes you use your family members. You ask your family members sometimes if you do have that, like, because that counts as a gift. They can help you towards, any cost that comes before you're able to close. So, my daddy helped me, and I'm so blessed. I'm so happy that he was able to help me with some of those costs, because I was like, dang, I was stressed a little bit, like, dang, like, where all this money gonna come from? Because you still have to live, you still have to pay the bills where you are, on top of have this extra there. But you have to have at least, I want to say, close to $3,000 to $5,000. Now, I got down payment assistance. So all I had to do was take a first-time home buyer course, and I did it online, right? And I think I had to get like an 80% on it, just, to pass. It was like 4 hours long. I did it right after I finished work one day. I was dog tired, but I was like, you know what? I got to do this. And it helped me with my whole down payment. So that was definitely a blessing. But my lender had me in a specific program for first-time home buyers. So that was an option for me. Do not be afraid to ask your lender or ask your realtor about any grants or programs. Even sometimes your city or your county may have like certain grants or things. Well, all you have to do is go sit up at a class one weekend, and they tell you about the real estate, and they tell you about the home buying process, and they can they give you grants and give you money just to go towards your home. So always look into stuff like that. Sometimes you may need all that money, but I said $3,000 to $5,000, but there are so many programs out there that are not talked about within your city. Get on your city's website and look for stuff like that. I can guarantee you there is something for you that will help go towards your purchase. You need money to close with. People don't talk about that. You have to close. And I looked up, because my lender, she over like did it as far as how much that I would need, because they were like, okay, in order to close and for everything, you're gonna need about $3,200. That's what you're gonna need. And I was stressed, and I was like, oh my God, where is this money gonna come from? And I took it day by day. I really did. And I don't advise that, though. I do not advise that. I advise you to at least have something to put towards. That's just me. I was kind of winging it, and that's not exactly smart, but hey, that's what I did. I kind of on the whim was like, look, I don't want to rent anymore. So I took all that came with that last minute stuff. So there's that. So everything after I found the place, everything that I done, both me and the seller agreed. She agreed on my offer. And then it was just like the waiting game, really, making sure you go into underwriting, where they look at what you're spending, what's coming in, what's coming out. Another thing, when you're a single parent, if you're getting child support or like any type of, or even if you're not, maybe you're getting alimony or something like that for a certain amount of time, you can use that as income, because they do look at your debt ratio. They do look at how much debt are you in, like how many bills do you have, not including your utilities and everything, but what's on they look at how much money you have coming in, and that goes based on what you pre-qualified for as well. But they you go into underwriting, and that's a whole process when they're asking for bank statements and and W-4, W-2s, and there, you know, letters for this, employment verification. There is everything. When I tell you, like, underwriting is like a fine pick. They're going through everything. And when I tell you that's a stressful time, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, sometimes for some people, for me, I did not stay in underwriting very long because I do not have a lot of debt. But for people with a lot of assets, or if it's more than one person, like a couple, that could be a good process. That could take, you know, a good 30 days just for underwriting. But for me, I lucked up because it was just me and I did not have a lot of debt, right? So that's how that went. But it still does not take away that process was frustrating, because I kept having to, they're like, oh, well, we need this. They're calling, okay, well, we need that. Okay, well, can you find this? And, you know, I was able to, you can use child support alimony as extra income as well. So you have to be able to, verify that, hey, this is something that I'm getting consistently. And this is something that, you know, yeah, that I get consistently. And it is a part of my income now. What else? Like, you never kind of really know. Like, you have to, with home buying process, you have to let one thing happen, and then before you can go to the next. And the waiting game sometimes, or like that, okay, I thought we had this, but we got to go back for this, or it's a bunch of that. So you have to mentally prepare yourself for this process. Another thing, so after underwriting, we went into underwriting, and and they're looking at your bank account. So don't go buy no cars, don't open a new line of credit, like, don't do any of that, you know, because they're gonna have to redo everything, and that just backs up your process. So they're looking at what's coming in. Like, I had one amount that came in. It was actually like my tax refund, and I'm thinking, like, it's gonna say on there, okay, this is from the federal government. But in underwriting, they're like, hey, where did this money come from? And I'm like, the government? So I had to go on my TurboTax and show, like, the fee they charge. I had to show that that's where it came from. Like, it's that specific. So I'm like, it's come from the government. But anyway, there was that. What else, you guys? Okay, so after the underwriting, I was clear to close, and I was so happy about that. And then you have to, any monies that you have left that's owed, any fees or anything, you have to do it by closing day. And you have to wire it. You have to go through your bank and wire it. And before, I was like, what the hell is wiring? Because, I'm a millennial, so it's kind of like, what is wiring? Like, I'm just so used to just like giving my bank account number and or a credit card or something, and you just take the money. But no, they wanted it to be wired through the bank. So it was a process too on like how to even get the money to the title company through wiring. That was like it was like new for me. So yeah, there's that. Child, I was lost, child, with that part. But Bank of America and most of the banks, they make it pretty easy, So anyway, it turned out not being easy. It was something I could just do right over the computer, and I didn't have to call the bank. I didn't have to do any of that. I could just do it right there over the computer, and it worked perfect. So I did that, and showed up to the closing table, showed up to the closing day, and you sign a bunch of papers like this thick. Now, mind you, during the whole process, you're getting DocuSigns left and right, all different type of like paperwork and contracts, and the whole time DocuSigns are like, we need it by this day, we need it by that day. So you have to be attentive during the whole time as well. So there's that. Anyway, I was clear to close. We closed. I was happy. And then you have to start that moving process from your old place to your new place. You have to allot for expenses. Ooh, it's thundering. It's about to rain, y'all. So you have to allot time, or money to actually move. To actually move. U-Hauls, moving boxes, deposits for, your lights. Just, yeah, so you just want to make sure you have some money put away. And one of those things, like a thing about home buying process, it is a process, and it's, don't be too hard on yourself, because you know, if you're determined to get it done like how I was, I felt like I don't need nobody. Like, look, I'm just gonna do it, and that's what I did, y'all. And if you guys have any more questions about my process and what I liked and what I didn't like about the process, please jump down in the comments, or if you can share your experiences with whatever kind of loan you got or anything, like, you can just drop down in the comments and let me know what your experiences were. I would really love to hear it. But yeah, you guys, I have been in my place for about 3 months now. I have a lot of work to do. However, it's over time. It'll get done. I have so many plans for this new space, this new beginning, this new start for me, and I'm just excited. I'm excited for it. So anyway, y'all, I will talk to you guys later. I may, come and talk about the bills, child, because the bills. But anyway, we're not gonna talk about the bills on this video. But anyway, you guys, bye.